mean, and congratulations to you for winning the Public Diplomacy Award.
Oh, thank you.
Rightly so. You're well-traveled. You've been all around the world. You've seen it all. You're an activist. Rocky, when I heard of you, I was a little boy. And you keep going and going. I know the new one is Rise. We'll talk about it. But I genuinely want to know what keeps you going, Rocky.
Well, the thing is that, you know, when you have a talent, creativity is eternal. You know, by eternal, I mean your life. You know, and the person who's not creative, then that humanity dies out of you, because we are all children of a great creativity person, a creator. You know, so for me, I feel that as a person, you constantly, if you're pushing the boundary, you're learning, you're being inspired by new things, you don't become full of yourself that you have done it all, then you're constantly being given so many different dimensions to evolve. And I feel that that's what keeps me going. I'm just excited about life. I'm excited about new things. I'm always excited about making new songs, breaking the mold and not following the path. And I think that that's the thing too. Once you follow a certain mold, a certain path, you follow the crowd. When the crowd stops, you're lost.
It's true.
You know, but if you create your own path and you go, the crowd has to follow you and trust that you take them to somewhere new and inspiring.
Absolutely. Yes, but in creating your own path, how do you describe your kind of music? I mean, for someone like myself, I'll say, oh, Rocky does reggae.
Yeah. It's Afro roots.
Afro roots.
Yeah.
So what is Afro roots?
Afro roots is really a sound that is reflective of who you are.
Okay.
I mean, many of us did not grow with one sound. You know, we grew up, you were listening to, your parents were probably playing you high life. And then you got into your own and you're like, okay, this is the type of music I'm gonna listen. So it's more of a lifestyle, you know, an expression. Like I grew up, high life was the base that I grew up with. And prior to high life, I had traditional music. And then I started to fall in love with Afrobeat, Ofela, you know, Sonny Ade, Sonny Okusin, all of that kind of stuff. And then reggae music. So I became a musician who was a product of all of these influences.
Okay.
So when I started as a musician, you know, reggae music was the strongest element because I wanted my music to really have a core message and also reflect whatever I was feeling and being inspired, you know. So then reggae became like a stronger dimension of it, and then Afrobeat. But then new influences came and I kept integrating, and that's what Afro Roots is about. It's about a foundation of high life music, Afrobeat, current sounds, and you know, because it's constantly evolving, but at the core of it is a message. You know, the music has to say something, it has to mean something, because when you create, it's a divine tool of expression and a divine tool of communication. So you can't just put it out there and only serves the mundane or the vain. It has to have something too that can elevate the audiences who are experiencing it.
You've seen it all, Rocky. You've seen it all. You've seen, like you rightly said, when it comes to the
from the
genres,
Grammys and all of that.
You know, the high life music, the hip life music, the Azonto. You've been here and inculcating it into your Afro roots. You've been nominated 3 times for the Grammys. Perhaps the most nominated Ghanaian at the Grammys. This is going to be your 4th time with the Rise.
Well, I'm not.
You're looking forward to it, right?
You're waiting for it to be considered.
Well, the Rise right now is in consideration. You know, both for Best Global Music Performance and then also for Best Video, because the video too is a masterpiece of creative expression. And I feel that the beautiful thing about this current Rise is that, you know, it's about the sentiment of not only Ghana, but around the world. You know, I have had the opportunity of post-COVID traveling around the world, pre-COVID and post-COVID. You know, seeing people beat down and then people trying to rise out of that beat down to find their bearings and also kind of reorganize who they are in their life. Many people lost their livelihood, many people lost their homes, many people lost so many things. So the song Rise was about that regardless of wherever we fall, the most important thing is how you stand up and how you rise. And then there was George Floyd, you know, and then you even come to this country and you have people dealing with economic situations. I mean, nobody knows how people make people make it out every day here, but people are going through a lot.
Yeah.
You know, many post-COVID didn't have anybody coming to help them stand up. They lost their private businesses and all of that kind of stuff. And then they're dealing with all of that too in the midst of, you know, an economic situation that is is global. Everybody's feeling it, but here too we are also feeling it.
Absolutely.
You know. So the song "Rise" is about that. Don't let the weight of your situation hold you down.
Come on.
Because you can make that choice to stand up or sit down or lay down. And I feel that once you hit the bottom, where do you go? You have to go up. And this is a song about all of us. Let's rise. And the video too was a cross collaboration. Twins Don't Beg filmed it.
Okay.
We brought in, like, a School of Performing Arts folks, models. It was a whole Ghanaian collaboration of trying to create something that is a masterpiece, an art that pays homage to the traditions, amplifies the current, and also points a direction into the future. In addition to a song that I feel is the ultimate expression of Afro roots too.
Anita,
absolutely.
Permit me. I need to know what you're doing right, Rocky. What are you doing right that most of our artists are not getting? Because you keep getting nominated, and I know Rice is going to be nominated. What are you doing right?
That's a good thing to
I'm
put out
hopeful.
there.
I'm hopeful. I mean, we've seen it a few times already, so we're sure that what are you getting right that you think that most of our artists aren't?
Well, I always, I have been asked that so many times, and I always say that, you see how excited I am about creating, how excited about music, how I'm excited about not only following one way. Everybody, when they hear one sound, now you have everybody like Afrobeat, everybody same sound.
Yeah.
Me, from the beginning, reggae could not contain me. Because once everybody started saying I was a reggae artist, all of a sudden, even the first album that was nominated, the Afro Roots record, it's a fusion of Afrobeat, high life, and all of that. That was what made that album stand out. So I feel that what I'm doing right is that I am a free man in both thought and deed and action. I'm not constrained by any restrictions of genre, because I started off and I had to hustle and work every step of the way. Nobody will give me the doorway. Even in Ghana, everybody said, hey, produce. So I knew from the onset that I had to go find money and invest in my music. So I started doing it. So I started pushing. I started my own independent label, traveled to the US, hustled, went to record labels, got my first song licensed, started building from there. Everything that I got, it went back into the music. So I knew that I laid my own rules. And I think that that is the freedom that has kept me going, because I am not beholden to somebody who will come in. You have to do this way, you have to dress this way, you have to look this way, you have to say this way, and all of that. I feel that art is about freedom. And if your art is not reflective of your freedom or your identity or your culture, then I think that you've missed the portion of the divinity that is at the core of it. And I feel that that is what I do. I dwell in that divinity. I feel free about what I create. I try to let it reflect Ghanaian, African, who we are. At the same time, too, I don't follow anybody. I just follow my heart.
Absolutely. And that's beautiful to watch. But another aspect of your life is the fact that you are a UN Goodwill Ambassador. I mean, you've spoken on several platforms talking about the environment, climate, and down here in Ghana, the major conversation now is illegal mining. What's your take on it? Well,
you see, the funny thing is that I also have a cocoa farm.
Okay, you're a farmer as well.
And even about a month ago, even in my farm, we hadn't been there for about 2 weeks, and we went there, and there people have gone into a farm and had started digging holes
to mine.
So my whole thing is that I just came back also from the ministerial conference of all environment ambassadors that was hosted by Côte d'Ivoire, the country of Côte d'Ivoire, but it was under the auspices of the African Union and the United Nations. So I, as an ambassador, Goodwill Ambassador for Africa, I gave the keynote before all of the 45 or so environment ambassadors, before everything started. And my keynote was about, you know, environmental stewardship that will ensure that our natural capital is preserved for future generations. Yeah. And this requires thinking outside the box, making sure that everything that we do, even when it comes to development, development is done in a way that it takes into cognizance also all our natural, it doesn't impact us in a way that we lose more in terms of our health, in terms of our ability to keep moving forward. So afterwards, then everybody, imagine being at an international conference afterwards and being an ambassador for environment for the continent. And then afterwards, everybody comes to me and say, what do you think about this photo? What do you think about this image?
That was about Ghana. Illegal mining photo.
It's about all that was going on in Ghana.
Right.
You know, and honestly, I didn't have a comeback because I was out there trying to tell others what was the right thing to do. And here I was being confronted what was in my own backyard. Yeah. You know, so for me, I see that it has diminished a certain aspect of our leadership outside, you know what I mean? It has diminished a certain aspect of our goodwill because we can still have, Ghana has always had mining. Ghana is called Gold Coast.
Yes. Yeah.
We've always had gold as part of our, but we've never had a situation where all of these activities had resulted in us losing something that is valuable, which is drinking water, because drinking water is more important than gold.
Yeah.
You know, when your drinking water is gone, I don't think that any of us can eat or drink gold.
Yeah.
And then when we also have not only drinking water, but losing our forest, and then the heavy metals like cyanide and mercury that are being used also going in, killing fish, polluting the ground, finding its way, because rivers are connected. So whether it's the Pra River or all of that, it's going to come all the way to Wija. And we are all going to find it in our tap. Because if you take the water and it looks clear, clear does not mean clean.
True.
You see? So my whole thing is that I am not here to lay blame on anybody. The blame is all of us, including myself. We have to understand what we are facing. And every Ghanaian has a responsibility, from leadership to the man on the street, to all of us see what we are dealing with and find a solution to it right now, today, because the optics are not good. And I've seen people trying to explain it. Nobody can explain it.
Yeah.
Nobody, even nobody. Everybody knows there's the big elephant in the room is that problem.
Yeah.
Pun intended.
Yes.
Pun intended or unintended, that big elephant.
Yes.
Anyways, Rocky, we want to check out the new one.
We could listen to him all day, honestly.
I actually want to know what you think the role of the youth is in all of this. Because some are protesting, some are complaining.
And even
we don't want to politics.
The celebrities as well, like yourself.
No, you see, the thing is that in our constitution, in a democratic constitution, your ability to speak and protest is a right. It's part of democracy. Democracy is not what's it called, a unique, shall I say, what's it called, control of one entity. It's about all of us. That's why we have different ideas come out. And if for some reason we feel something does not reflect the general consensus of who we are, the right to protest is our civic responsibility.
Indeed.
You know, so the youth who are seeing all of this and knowing that, you know, the baton is going to pass on to you. All of us having children in the future, do we want our children to be drinking water with arsenic in it?
No.
I don't think any of us want that to happen.
Not.
Yeah.
You know, the youth, do you want to be left with an environment which all your trees are gone and open pits are everywhere and whatever has been extracted is gone? You can't even see it anymore.
Yes.
And the food that you are eating is also contaminated. You know, this is a question that I am not blaming or pointing hands, but let's sit down, let our mindset sit and think about this very well. We cannot eat gold ever, no matter how valuable it is.
Yes,
Rocky,
indeed.
this is the time we have to rise up, and this song couldn't